Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second game of the day. We have got Lux taking on Demise for you guys. I am Mitch, and with me is Dean, and we're excited to get things going today, aren't we, Dean?
Oh yeah, I'm ecstatic. We're a little bit behind schedule, but we have some great Battalion coming the way, and that's really all that matters. And we have bigger doors now.
Yeah, absolutely. Bigger doors and windows, so we can catch more of the action through it. So these two teams, you guys might know them. They've both been around for quite a while. Lux being a new name, but if you look at the player names, it's certainly not going to be any new items there. We've got Max Strafe and Flashy, two very solid individual players. They have a pretty good history. We've seen them make a lot of individual plays in the past, and they're joining the three I-62 winners, Saint Six, Icons, and J Money. Of course, they have got their gold and Tommy gun skins, so be on the lookout for those in-game. There are some prizes for this line, I've heard. There's going to be some skins, so perhaps they're looking to grow.
We don't know exactly what, though, so we can't really speculate.
Of course, yeah, we don't know what they're going to be, but you're going to have those Saint Icons and J Money looking to expand their library a little bit. And then, of course, Demise being a really, really solid team individually. Nobody really stands out as a massive individual player. I was talking to Dins before this, and he was saying that that's what they're going for. They don't look to make those flashy plays. They look to bait for their teammates, play as a unit, and not make any gritty plays, and it really shows.
Yeah, even if we just go back to gallantry, I think coming into that event, they were severely underestimated by most teams, and then they ended up doing well. They ended up placing third for themselves, and I think they could definitely have another good opportunity here at the major, but we're getting into the action pretty soon, Mitch. We have the knife round going live, and with it being Liberation, how important would you say this knife round is?
I think it's going to be pretty important. If you think about Liberation, we saw off stream Lux managed to take down Fierce 16-2 on Lib. They have a really nice Axis side. It focuses a lot on aggression, getting that early map control and finding opening kills. And that's something that all of these players are very well versed on. The second map being Coastal is going to massively favor Lux, I feel, because Lux are a pretty good team on that map. Max Strafe is really, really strong on Coastal in general. I've seen him a couple of times, and he always stands out, top fragging the game that they played against Fierce there. And so I think this is going to be it's going to be a close game. But starting out on Liberation, I've got to lean towards Lux, I think.
Leaning towards Lux. Yeah, as you said, I think Lux are definitely the team that overall kind of has that firepower, so it depends whether they show up. But the thing is, Demise, I think they have a little bit more of a kind of strategic approach to fall back on between each other.
Absolutely.
And that's something I'm looking forward to, because when we cast Battalion, not a lot of the time do we kind of get to see that execute-heavy approach. And I think Liberation is one of those maps where you'll see that being thrown out quite a lot, especially over towards that B-bomb site.
Yeah, for sure. B being a massive favorite for most teams. And a lot of the time you do see, there's a standard enough take, dropping the smoke over towards the arch, dropping one towards windows, and then just going out. You can isolate a lot of the angles one by one. A generally isn't favored as much. I think we talked about it throughout the qualifiers. It's a map that you kind of see an A execute maybe twice a game for a team. It's not something they pull out a whole lot, but maybe that's something that, you know, because that's become the kind of meta across the last couple of months, maybe that's something we'll see teams here trying to isolate, because they know that the stack usually isn't on that A site. You mostly have one player there. Some teams don't even play with one on the bomb site. They play one in triple stack house, and that can be very easy to make your way onto the bomb site if you can drop smokes and isolate the angles.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, though. There is just a lot of ground to cover before you can get up close to A, so normally the teams will be able to grab that info for themselves. But it kind of depends what way they're playing, because as you said, if they're just stacking up directly on that B-bomb site playing, like we've even seen that during the qualifier, just because the site was being hit so much that teams would begin to just completely stack it. And we seen, I can't remember who it was, but they started to kind of exploit that A-bomb site, and then it can become a bit of a weakness. Because even if you just go there once or twice, then it puts the idea in the back of the head of the opposing team that, like, okay, we can't afford to gamble all of our presence over towards B anymore. And even if you just kind of keep them guessing, I think a lot of the time the problem with teams on this map is they just become too predictable.
Yeah, for sure it is. B, again, we've said this a couple of times, those two smokes on B and pushing out is something that's very, very common across a lot of the teams. And so it is something that we would expect will be kind of changed up here, because the teams are going to have spent a lot of time preparing. I know Demise, they've been together since the start of Battalion. MU1, they've kept their whole 5 roster. They had a little bit of a change at the very beginning, but since then it has been all 5 together. With the exception of Samuel G, they all played Call of Duty 4 together as well, back in Pro Mod. So they're going to have a lot of preparation, a lot of thought gone into this. Over on the Lux side, they said they spent about 4 weeks practicing. You know, they've had some good training together. They've practice their executes and stuff. So I think they're going to be able to bring a heavy level of competition here. And like we said, it's going to be kind of hard to call, but I kind of favor Lux going into it. They have a lot of big names, a lot of very strong individual players, but it's certainly no time to count Demise out. They will definitely have an opportunity.
So if I was to ask you from each team to choose one player who you think is going to have to be the one that steps it up, who do you think is going to be the one we should focus on?
Well, here on Liberation, I think Icons does really well. We've seen him with the scope a lot throughout the qualifiers, throughout previous tournaments, especially on Lib. He isolates middle very well over towards tank, uses that scope well, especially with the scope now being only 5 tokens. It's going to be a lot easier to get him access to that heavy weapon. So I feel like he's going to have a lot of impact. Over on the Demise side, it is kind of hard to say because, again, they all step it up individually. They play as a team, and even at times where a lot of other teams, just taking Comrade, for example, they're probably the most obvious example. Fi comes out and he finds 30, 40 bombs a lot of that time. But in the event that he doesn't, the team really struggles to kind of gel it together with the absence of that heavy, heavy carry. But if you move over to Demise, if one player has a bad day, the rest of the team are perfectly capable of stepping it up. And even if the game doesn't go their way, it's certainly going to be close. I believe they've played against Endpoint at Budapest. And I'm stretching back in my memory here, but I believe it was like 2 very close scorelines. It was a 2-1. They lost in Budapest, and it was like 16-14, 16-10. So they have experience against the core lineup here. And, of course, it remains to be seen exactly how Flashy and Max Strafe's addition to that Lux lineup is going to make things. And just to remind you, this is the Endpoint team that we saw at Budapest and at I-62, just with Flashy and Max Strafe in there as 2 new players. So it's going to be interesting. You've got some really experienced, really well-versed players with 2 new ones to the lineup, and see how that mix has helped them with a month's practice. They've certainly got a lot of ability to bring things to the table.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into the action. Hopefully we should be ready to go pretty soon. I guess we can go ahead and actually discuss what the maps are, of course. Liberation is what we're going to start things off on, being the choice of Demise. Then we have Coastal, and the decider, if needed, is going to be Manor. I always like a little bit of Manor. I feel like that's the Inferno of Battalion. Yeah,
it is. It's a very even map. There's a whole lot of routes to get to where you want to go. Middle kind of opens up into either bomb site, provided you can hit a strafe. It gives the Axis a lot of angles to defend from. And it's just an all-around, it feels like a nice map, you know? It's a little bit of 3-dimensionality to it, but also it's nice and simple at the same time, you know?
Here we go, though, Mitch. We're ready to get live. We're getting right into the action now. So we should have the game back on your screen soon. There it is indeed. And we're ready to get into the second game of the day between Lux and Demise. And as Mitch said, we don't really know which way this one is going to go. It really could go either way. Both teams having some great players, some great names. And I'd expect the action to live up to that as well.
And look, they're going towards B to start things off, Dean. Just as we said, this is a favored site, especially with the weaker utility, the ability to throw down those smokes. And there's the 2 smokes we were talking about earlier on. They land down, isolates a lot of angles, means that they can go in there, clearing them one at a time, and keeps the Axis away from the bomb site, allowing the plan to come through. But there's the spam coming through from middle as Sam takes down Saint. The bomb now going to be planted safely, but they've already lost 2 players in the Allied side.
Oh, yeah, this is not looking good. Already down into that 5-on-2, and with the bomb yet to be planted, this could get very dangerous. J-Money, he's aware of the flank, gets the first bit of damage in, but he's not going to be able to follow it up with the frag, and this is where it becomes very awkward indeed. J-Money and Icons both just basically stuck on this bomb site, not able to really pressure towards either side. And just trying to take those one-on-ones is not going to work out. Taken down, it's a perfect round for Demise to start things off. And that's surprising because they were playing complete retake on that B bomb site. And as you said, that initial spam coming through, it was on point. They denied the bomb plant, and from that point forward, Demise just, Lux just weren't able to get the things rolling again.
Yeah, for sure. A solid start for Demise there. And that's what we like to see here on Lib. They've got that preparation. They're ready to go for the aggression. And something that we talked about earlier, of course, the lack of teams going towards the A bomb site. That means that straight away, Demise were pushing that A site. They were pushing that mid. They were expecting it to be a B hit. This time, we're going to see a little bit of a change up coming through from the Allied side of Lux. They start to spread out and slowly take things towards the A bomb site. And this is a bit of a change in the strategy, leaving one lurking outside of the B site. That's going to be J-Money, maybe selling a little bit of a fake as Max Strafe finds one in mid. He's looking to skirmish a little bit more, and all this while, J-Money is still sitting outside that B site. If they try to rotate through spawn, he's going to be caught off. Yeah, he's going to be catching players off, and he's already spotted one. It's very mixed. Look how spread out everybody is, but the Axis are falling apart here, getting torn up by the Lux attack. They've figured out the problems and spread things out. It's pretty much just Strove left alive. It's going to be difficult for him to pick up anything in a 1v5. It's got to be the ace.
Gets the first kill, but with that now, of course, his position's going to be known. The bomb should be just brought towards one of these bomb sites. B looks to be the destination indeed. Strove just jumping across, gets himself a little bit of info, but basically just pinned down towards the back of mid this time. kind of switched with his opponent. He's on the wrong side of the map now. He was meant to be defending instead, coming in from the allied spawn, and he gets finished off. J-Money happy enough to go ahead and just hunt down that frag. So pretty quickly, the allies able to go ahead and return things. And I think this is something we've kind of talked about before, because even if you do lose that first round, you can still get a pretty decent buyout into the second one. And it's not like the winner of the initial round really gets all that much of an advantage in terms of the economy.
Yeah, no, we did talk about that a couple of times, how teams tend to be able to come back into that second round with a relatively even buy and fight it off. It's kind of like in CSGO, the likes of taking out CZ buys and CT side Inferno. You know, it gives you a very solid chance of coming back into the game, and it's no different here. Nades haven't really played a huge role so far. They are deployed over to... Oh, look at that from Icons. Nice aggression. He drops an A towards B, forcing Dins out into the open and takes off his head. With that starting things off, already got a decent opening for the allies, and looks already have access to that B bomb site. They're bringing the bomb over there, but Nielsen Blues are confident not to be losing the site all too easily. They make the allied side pay for it by claiming themselves a double between them already. Nice nade as well onto Flashy, who somehow just about survives that. Grabs himself a kill along the way.
Yeah, down to that 3-on-2 now, with Saint also being able to chime in. So Shrove and Niels in a little bit of an awkward position. Nielskin, the rotate, going to get cut off already. That leaves only Shrove alive now. His position also being noted in towards that connector, and he was able to get himself one more, so it's down to the 1-on-2. But as we can see, Saint, I think, has the right idea. He's decided to just bring this bomb back around over towards that A bomb site, which should allow for the bomb to be planted quite easy, although they do need to be careful. Max Strafe was kind of hanging around. If he had fell, it would have been the 1-on-1. But now they do just look to try and join up together, make sure they can play this in coordination with each other, ensure that at least the trades will be able to actually come in. Shrove slowly going to begin to make his way, and he definitely wants to try and look for this retake, but it's not going to happen. Max Strafe there to shut things down, and that's the second round for Lux as they go ahead and claim themselves the lead.
Yeah, right now the token's building up on the Axis side, though. They're going to be able to get a good buy. Nades coming out as well. And we've seen a lot of times Nades playing a big role here on Liberation, especially as a lot of the teams do tend to go towards that B side early on. There's that golden Tommy gun on Icons. Beautiful.
It's not quite the one that some of the players have. You know, there's one special one with a little, marker underneath.
You'll see that on Sus over on Entropy. I'm sure he'll give us a nice preview of that the next time he's on the stage. But for now, the show is all eyes on Lux, finding themselves one opening already. Max Strafe, again, the player to be opening things up. As they look to bring the things towards the B bomb site, they're not going all too quickly there. They have got that player over towards Market, one towards A as well. And they're going to be ready to catch off any rotations that they attempt to bait out. Slow play to come through, but definitely going towards B as Dins finds out, and in come the nades, and at this point he needs to be careful. Smokes cutting him off on the bomb side. Look at Blues though, he's already gotten up behind them, spotted out the info. He's got the bomb at this point. They're at a man disadvantage, but the allies have not got that bomb in their possession, so the bomb site security is the least of their concerns. Problem is though, look how far away Samuel G is, and he's got a sniper as well. So if Blues falls, this round is probably going to be over. Just about surviving with a sliver of HP. They know where he is though, and that's going to be a problem.
That was a very crucial frag there, but sadly he probably won't be able to actually hold that bomb down. Tries to force the issue forward, which was the right idea considering there was a player coming in from behind. Samuel actually going to get the initial. The quick scope on towards Max Strafe, but as he goes to try and deny that bomb plant with the knife, he will be taken down by Icons. And another round again going to go over in favor of Lux. And I guess the allied side here is kind of where that, as you said, the firepower that Lux have available could actually reign supreme over Demise.
Yes, certainly. Already you see they've put a lot of thought into the map. They're not allowing themselves to fall into the trap of simply going towards the B bomb site every round. Now Icons has got that sniper in hand, and he can be very dangerous with that. And a nice play, though, by Icons. He had a good read in the previous round. Once he saw the cut out one player, he thought that... So as he was planting the bomb, obviously the rotations come around from that other player. They've known the bomb's there for a good 20, 30 seconds at that point. So he doesn't stick the bomb plant. Instead, he backs off, expecting that the player's going to run into the smoke. And had he been sticking that bomb plant, they would have lost the round with the knife coming through. The sniper battle in mid. Not going to see any victors today. The 5v5 still going. I mean, the Axis have got a little bit of information. They've spotted a player out towards Market. They've seen one rotate towards B at this point from middle. So they have a bit of an opportunity. And with the flank coming in from Blues, who again is the one pushing through, that's going to give them an opening kill. And they know it's B at this point.
Ooh.
Did he just get a collapse?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that was 2 kills in 1. Managed to actually catch them on the cross. So this round actually looking quite good right now for Demise. They should be able to find this one. The bomb, I was going to say, should be planted at least for Lux, but that's not going to be allowed. Suddenly Flashy all alone, pinned down, and he will eventually be finished off. So a perfect round from Demise. They keep all 5 players up. That's exactly what they need so they don't have to reinvest into this next round. Just get themselves a bit of utility. They'll be looking good. But they do have to try and bring this up to... What would you say is their goal on the Axis side?
On the Axis side, here on Lib, I think they do want to be coming out ahead. And probably want to get those 9 rounds in the bag to feel comfortable with how the map has gone. I think that you got to give props there to Samuel. He took, not only did he take down 2 through the smoke, showing his competence on knowing the angle from which he was holding, but then he takes down the bomb planter with the pistol, so he knows where the bomb site is, even through that smoke, where the lying down position will be, and all around that shows you crosshair placement can get you a lot.
Yeah, shows you to grind as well. To learn all those angles, you need to play the game quite a lot. But yeah, a fairly weak buy, this one coming in for Lux. They have 3 grease guns, a couple of carbines, a small amount of utility, but not really in abundance by any means, and already things have been opened up by Demise. It was Blues to drop J money early on. A bit of control being found over towards A, but the problem is their numbers just continue to diminish. One comes in eventually from Saint, but in the process, Samuel able to set himself up on the sniper, gets himself 2, maybe finished off eventually, but he falls back to the carbine and makes it the hat trick as we see a 3rd round being found, and Demise are going to go ahead and equalize things out.
Well, I got to say, Blues is starting to get consistent frags on that A-bomb site, going for the aggression early on. And the thing is, right there, he ran into the whole team, still managed to get one and get away. So that's that level of consistency. Finding the opening kill for your team is going to favor you quite heavily, especially on that Axis side. To reduce the allies to 4 players every single round just makes it almost impossible for you to keep on losing. Early nades again, not really going to do anything. They've been a little bit underwhelming on the Axis.
Ooh.
Never mind, Blues. Never mind.
You jinxed the caster's curse. I don't think that's too big of a deal in this one for Lux. As we can see, they haven't really invested into this round. Gone for a little bit of an eco, trying to ensure that the next one they'll be able to get everything they want. But they would at least like a couple of kills. Try and get some damage done. Make it at least slightly costly, as now it's only J Money and Flashy to try and do so. Focus towards this B-bomb site, as you would expect. If they could get the bomb down for the extra token, that would be really nice, but I don't know if it's going to be allowed. And it seems like Dins just continues to lock things down. J Money just kind of chilling on his own right now back in spawn, hoping maybe that the aggression would come in through A, but it's not the case right now. And yeah, he's basically just kind of trapped in this position at this point because players have also pushed down mid. And with the bomb being currently dropped in towards that site, he's going to have to try and retrieve that eventually.
Yeah, see, the thing here on this round, Lux were going for that bomb plant. They invested into a couple of smokes, and so it is a costly enough round in the sense that they don't even get a kill. If you can invest into 2 or 3 smokes, get a bomb plant down, you're still coming out with a surplus, especially if you pick up a kill or 2 along the way. Because although the Grace Gun might not be the strongest individually, if you can group that up as 5, go in for a push, it's going to be, you know, the chances of you not hitting them a couple of times and taking at least 1 player down are pretty low. So they were looking for some return on investment. They do find 1 kill taking Blues down. It was getting a little bit aggressive. Now an MP40 rather picked up. So the potential to maybe extend the round a little bit further, but it's not going to happen. And Brady there looks coming in with the objective of getting the bomb plant to secure an extra 5 tokens. They're going to come out with just the 1. Still better than nothing.
They still have a pretty solid buy, though, so we should see them get everything they want. Will they bring out a sniper yet is the question. On the Allied side, it's not really needed. We've seen him actually bring it out a while ago. It was Icons, I think he picked it up, didn't actually buy it. Yeah, but the question is, does he want to actually buy one of those himself? It doesn't seem so. He's happy enough to go ahead and just get out the carbine, gets himself a bit of utility in the process, and they actually have a lot. So smokes onto everyone, a good few nades as well. 5 nades, 4 smokes. And early on, really going to be grouped up over towards B once again. So I'd expect them to have a little bit of a plan coming into this round to set execute. But there we go. Blues already opens things up with that nade. Going to look to try and get aggressive off the back of it. And sadly, that's not really going to work out in his favor. It does end up getting traded and allowing things to remain in a pretty equal position.
Yeah, left into that 4v4. It is unusual to see the scope being invested into on the Allied side. Not something that you don't want to have necessarily, but it does limit your options a little bit, having that player having to go for those kind of longer range angles, although we saw Samuel G go in with the close range quick scopes before, so it's certainly not an impossible feat with that sniper. Now, Saint's pretty safe getting that bomb plant, but Dins comes in from upper. He's finding himself a nice opening. The only angle he's exposed to, again, through the smoke. And you just see the level of competence here on the Demise side, able to find those kills again and again through smoke. They know their angles perfectly. But unfortunately, they're being picked apart in the late round. As Lux bait them in towards the bomb site, they find multiple kills of their own, and another round, bringing us 4-4. A scoreline that so far is favoring Lux with the ability to trade back these sets of rounds. They'll certainly be happy if they can bring things over on a relatively even scoreline.
Yeah, again, Mitch, though, you jinxed it because you were talking about the competence of Demise at getting those kills through the smoke, and just as you said, I think it was Icons who spammed them down with the carbine through smoke, so you need to stop jinxing things. Well,
Din's got one as well, so...
Yeah, but like, you jinxed it. That's all I'm going to say to you. But yeah, 4-4, as you said, that's obviously going to favor the Allied side. It's all about grinding out those rounds. They'll be looking to try and reach 6 or so if they want to be quite happy. And look at this. This could be dangerous. Will Saint actually check behind? I don't think he's gonna. Gets picked off easily by Strove. Luckily enough, Flashy comes in for one of his own, but the trades do continue to go in favor of that Demise side. And it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, as it's brought to the 4-on-1. J-Money all alone, and I definitely wouldn't put money on him to win this one.
No, and the interesting thing there is the eco actually came out pretty heavily in favor of the Axis versus the likes of an Allied eco. In general, if you're on the Allied side and you've got to go for those grease guns, you have to invest into smokes, you have to run at a bomb site, and you have to take fights. But here on the Axis side, of course, even though those players might have the long-range weapons, they're not going to be holding the map, you know, they're not going to be holding long-range angles waiting for you to push. They're going to be trying to make their way towards a bomb site. It's also kind of hard to get a read on economy right now because obviously players could go for that eco, but they're always going to have that one token. They could have invested into the Gewehr buy, so it's not like in Counter-Strike where you know they're going to have P250s or the close-range weapons, and you know to avoid those close-range fights. You could think that they're going to be on popcorns or grease guns, as we call them over on the eco side, but all of a sudden you could run right into 5 Gewehrs and holding longer range angles. So it's hard to predict what kind of hold you're going to be running into over on the Axis side. And right there, you see that they go for the aggression, they find their way behind, and they open up the round by closing in the distance on the players that have the longer range weapons. And now we actually make our way into a relatively even round. Lots of utility in play, more grenades on the Axis side, and we have seen some heavy impact from them, but it looks like Lux are a little bit more aware. You can see them dodging the grenades. Although Flashy does get taken down, some of the other players were able to avoid extending that further, and he also gets a trade with his own nade. So bringing it back to a 4v4, it's Samuel to open things up with the Gewehr. Things just keep going over to the Axis side.
Yeah, those nades just causing so much damage currently. Max Strafe now all alone, caught in the back and taken down. And we do see Demise go ahead and chain a couple of rounds together, increase that lead up to 6-4. I think off the back of that now we may see an eco coming in from Lux. Maybe a small investment, as you said, try and get those smokes out, focus on trying to get the bomb planted if possible. But I wouldn't imagine we'd really see them investing everything into this one. Icons gets himself a carbine, and it seems like they're actually going to go for a pretty heavy buy in terms of the carbines, but they keep those 1 tokens onto the majority of players. They do have 2 for Saint, so keeping some money at least, they'll be able to buy pretty happily into this next round. And as you said, it's hard to keep track of the economy because you're always going to have enough to at least get out that carbine, and that does give you the long-range capability. Not quite on the same level as the scope in the hands of Samuel, of course, and he has himself a nice little position in this window trying to look down mid. And it seems like we are seeing it this time around at least a little bit of a slower approach coming in from Lux. I think this is the first time we've seen them kind of focus on mid as well. Just trying to walk up through the smoke, but Samuel, he expected that one. Gets himself the initial kill, but going for a little bit of a wide swing. Does get taken down. This nade from Niels. This could cause so much damage and actually doesn't kill anyone at all.
Flashy's very low though, so that Tommy gun's going to melt him as he pushes over towards the tank, and he's able to drop down, wait for J-Money to go and re-aggress. Nice bait coming through from Niels. And now the remaining allies are very spread out. So it looks like Max Strafe has secured the A bomb site. He's holding this angle now for his teammate. It's going to come in with the bomb. Not able to connect the shots. The final shot onto Dins. They perfectly traded blows there. They're almost on symmetrical health. Icon's coming in with the bomb now. That's going to be the Axis objective, to cut him off as he tries to make his way towards the bomb site. And you can see over towards the mid-house, Dins is in a position to do so, but he's slowly backing down out of there. Ooh, Max, that's a very important kill onto Nielsk. Gives him a nice opening, 2 versus 2 now. The retake got a whole lot harder for the Axis side as the bomb plant goes down. Dins has to wait for his teammate Blues to come in. Blues, of course, with a smoke in hand. That could certainly be useful coming in on the retake to close down one of the angles and make it a little bit easier when pushing in. Or indeed close the distance, as Blues has got an MP40. So certainly the weaponry advantage as the push goes down.
Yeah, taking the longer route as well, but should be okay. As we can see, both players remaining on the bomb site for the Allied side, and they should find this info quite soon. Icons, he's the first point of contact, and has Maxstrafe watching the other entrance, going to be just covered off, and now it's only Dins, low HP, as they kind of allow for that to regen a little bit, and at this point time is becoming a massive issue. Gets himself the first kill, but that's all that's allowed. Once again, it's Icons to come in the one-on-one and clean things up. A 5th round onto the board for the Allies in the form of Lux, and as you said, they'll be looking for around 6 or so. You said Demise would be happy with 9, and that of course means that it'll be 6 for the Allies that they'll be looking for.
Yeah, I think if the Allies can pick up those 7 rounds, though, at that point they're going to be happy with how the half went. Keeping it close on that disadvantaged side. I think a lot of the time it is players do tend to do better on the Axis side. Most teams are favoured in that respect. But I was speaking to Dins earlier, and he said that they do prefer, or he rather prefers to start over on the Allied side, because it means if you have a bad Allied side, you can make up for it when you move over to the Axis. That's where the firepower is. That's where the nade advantages, and so that's where a lot of teams want to be. And a really nice play from Maxstrafe, again making his way all the way up middle as he looks to creep up on the windows. But look at that, Dins has a good read. He's playing passive on that B-bomb site, able to claim the head now. And now they're going to go in for the retake. Nades coming in, but it's Icons to open things up, taking Blues down. Still got to worry about Dins towards upper. He's going to be spamming through, and look at that knowledge of the map. Unfortunately, J Money has knowledge of his own and gets the spam back through, returning a headshot onto Dins and giving the man advantage over to the Allies, who are now in the defense role and so massively favored.
It's doable for Samuel and Strove, but with no utility and with that scoped rifle as well, is it really worth going for? I think we may see them considering backing off quite soon, especially if they don't find one of these opening kills. And as you can see, it's a pretty passive afterplant as well coming in from Lux. Not really looking to try and stay forward at all. Their goal just to try and play the time on this bomb. And Strove, he's continuing to hang around, but at this point, there's not really much that can be done. There's no way he can get the kills and the defuse. And I guess he's just trying to make it a little bit more costly. Picks himself up the MP40, and that's an extra weapon, I guess, they'd run away and try and save at least. A small positive. But it is going to be a 6th already onto the board for Lux, and with the scoreline once again being equalized back and forth, as we said, that's always going to favor the Allies.
For sure, yeah, trading those rounds is going to put the Allies in a good position where, in order for Demise to be really happy with how the half went, they kind of need to bring themselves up to that 9 scoreline. 8-7 will, as I said before, put Lux in a happy enough position as they move over to the Axis. That is where most teams find their stronger grounding. And yet, like I was saying earlier, you know, if you have that bad Allied side, you can always come back into it on the Axis. There's always the ability to open things up with nades, and it's just generally the favored side. As in most games, the defense is usually the one that is favored. But the problem here is if you have a bad Axis side, it's so hard to keep that positive mentality when you move over to the Allied and you have to push into these players. Already, it looks like a bad Allied side is out of the question for Lux. They open things up once more, finding the kill onto Dins, this time on the B-bomb site. Not able to open things up. Ooh, J Money barely missing a spam. But with such limited economy on some of the players, the Axis are finding it very hard to win these battles. And already at a 2-man disadvantage. Samuel G, one of the only heavily equipped players. He's got a sniper and an STG as Strove gets baited out by Nate. He has to move out of position at this point. Luckily, the Allies not able to capitalize a kill. They're actually going to rotate over to the A-bomb side. I like this. They've spotted out Strove. They already found a kill there earlier on. They know the rotations are going to come over towards the B side at that point, and you can see A is practically open for the taking at this point. Oh, I've just learned
that's
that you
a nice
smoke
smoke.
from Icons.
Yeah, that's really nice for blocking off the cross, but let's see, there was no players in that position anyway. Samuel G coming in from the back street looking to try and get something done, but he's not going to be quite able to deny that bomb plant, so it goes into the afterplant again. A man disadvantage for Demise as they look to try and move in on this one, and it's definitely not going to be an easy affair, but there we go, actually. Neil's able to open things up. A bit of a peek comes in from Icons. He ends up falling, and now things could get a little bit risky indeed. J Money, don't look at this. He has a flank of his own. Going to be able to just line up too. Gets the initial, and with the help from his teammate, it will leave all of this on towards Strove. And he's going to be finished off as well. So it is Lux to go ahead and gain themselves the lead. 7-6. Looking very solid on this Allied side indeed. And they could manage to bring this a good bit further. There's still a pretty solid economy though available for Demise, so they'll get a nice buy into this one. Won't really be worrying too much about that, I don't believe. They could get the sniper if they want. Yeah, Samuel has 6 tokens, so it'd be interesting if he didn't go for it, because we know Samuel just loves that scope. I was going to say scoped card, like you always do.
Well, that's what it's called. Nobody
and we didn't though. We just
decides
got a
instead
nade.
to go for the Gewehr and the grenade, which is interesting. Leaving 3 tokens over for the next round. They might as well have a good buy there if they do lose this. Their loss bonus is stacked up all the way. Looks like once again, Lux already claiming that early control. They're walking out on B round after round and finding opening kills there. Well, Samuel's going to be trading it back with that aforementioned Gewehr. The bomb will go down, so the retake has to come through from the Axis, despite still having a couple of nades. They weren't able to deploy them in time to stop the bomb plant. And with them now gone, it's going to be hard to actually get onto this B-bomb site with such a heavy stack from the Allies. They've been playing their after plants really well. Flashy's caught out an upper, and this maybe gives an opening. That opens up a whole lot of angles for the Axis, but unfortunately in comes Saint and Icons, leaving just Samuel left alive, and at this point he's trying to get out of there with his life, but not quite able to do so. Now on 8-6, final chance for Demise to have a somewhat decent half. The 7 rounds on the board will put them in a bad position as they move over to the Allied side, but it is certainly going to be better than being at a 3-round deficit. The sniper coming out for Samuel alongside a Granada as a full investment comes through from the Axis. Interestingly, 1 token left on Blues. I don't like to see that. It's the last round. He could have given that to Dins or Niels to grab a smoke.
Yeah, that's, I guess, just a little bit of a miscommunication, but hopefully it won't be too big of a deal for them because it is, at least early on, the 1-for-1 trades. Samuel going to go ahead and take the life of Icon. Saint and Max Strafe to pull things back, and suddenly it's brought into that 4-on-3. Most of the focus is going to be over towards B. Niels looking to try and get aggressive through the market, does pull one back of his own, but on the actual site itself is where the frags do continue to go in favor of Lux. Having to retrieve that bomb now, so that slows things down just a tiny bit. Strove and Niels are going to have a pretty tough task trying to pull this one off, and as I say that, of course, another player falls, the numbers continue to diminish, and it's Niels left in the 1-on-3 to try and save this round. It would have been the final one of the half. There's no option other than to go for it, and as he emerges from the smoke, Jame when he was awaiting. So 9-6 at half time on the Allied side for Lux. Not really what I was expecting, especially when we actually seen Demise go up 6-4.
Yeah, they had a strong lead developing, and they were starting to look really positive in all the rounds, but Lux managed to pull it back, and we know that they're good on this map. It's a map that in general they are favored over on the Allied side. I think their Axis is a little bit more hesitant, and maybe that's where Demise are going to have a good shot as they move over to their own Allied side. They can maybe poke and prod at this Axis defense and find a weakness in it. I think they Liberation was the win that Lux found up against Fierce, but it was in a second overtime, so it was a close game. And Demise, a team that came 3rd over in Budapest, they're a very strong team themselves. I don't think that I think one of their strong suits as well is not being tilted. That's a thing a lot of teams struggle with, but Demise in general are a pretty level-headed team.
Good mental fortitude.
Yeah, they don't have that that sort of individuality, big egos, anything like that. They're there for each other, and they're able to keep each other calm. So coming over to their Allied side, it's important to get off to a good start, though, because if this lead starts to spread out in Lux's favor, it's going to start to get pretty demotivating, even for the most positive of players.
Yeah, it was a little bit awkward there in the market for Flashy, playing up close on the default weapon. I think he ends up actually costing his teammate his life. It was Samuel who was able to take himself 1. But he had a 4-on-4 now, just under 40 seconds remaining on the clock, so they do have to come to a decision extremely soon about where they want to try and take this bomb. And as you would expect, B looks to be the target, beginning to make their way in. And it seems like Lux are happy enough to just go ahead and actually give this one up. They had that initial player going for the info. They found out that this is where the push was coming towards. And J-Money now actually going to try and go for a little bit of a peek around the window, get some damage in, but has to be cautious himself because there is one up close trying to give that assistance and stop that bomb plant from being denied. And it is indeed successful. So it's going to be that 4v4 after plant now. And with Inns up close especially, he can be a little bit of a thorn on their side. Oh, actually, no, he just goes straight down. Flashy was able to come in with that opening kill. Strove but one of his own. It's very back and forth right now. Comes into that 2-on-2. Let's see if they're going to be able to hold this one because things are getting very awkward. Strove on the carbine. He's been taking this duel for quite a while and has yet to be able to actually connect it around that window. It's really elsewhere that Flashy has to get the work done, and it's not going to happen. He falls, as does Saint. And Demise, they do find that opening round on the Allied side, as you said they needed.
Yeah, a very important round for Demise to win out. Now, they've got that 9-7, but this is the second round. This is important because the Axis are able to get that good buy. We talked previously about how those kind of poor buys on the Axis side are really hard to combat because you've got those weaker weapons like the popcorn rifle, but maybe they're going to go instead for the full eco. or rather not for the full eco. That's the full eco. They go for the Gewehr's, of course, getting those longer range angles. And so you don't know whether you're peeking into a bomb site, checking, leaving a priority towards the long or the short range angles to clear out first. Saint goes in aggressive in mid through a smoke, and that's going to take him down. As Dins takes him with the Tommy gun, he's able to retreat and keep himself alive. But unfortunately, Strove and Nielsk not able to do the same, as the Gewehr's are shredding them apart on the Allied side. Trades come in, again favoring them. But the bomb down in the Allied spawn is going to be a bit of a thorn in the side for them.
Oh, this is a problem. Dins has him pinned in the corner, and Max Strafe, even with that smoke, it was a good idea to put that down and try and escape, but Dins realizing if he let him escape, it could have got awkward, pushed up, and just went for the pre-fire. It works out perfectly. Man advantage now for the Allied side, but Icon's in an interesting position here. He's going to be coming in from behind and should be able to spot out at least one player quite soon. Goes ahead and just capitalizes on the first. Maybe could have played that a little bit safer. I think he could have maybe waited and got a second opportunity, but he may still be able to do so. The peak comes back in. And at least for now, he has got the info over where these remaining players are and kind of has them pinned in towards this bomb site. And there's an important frag from J Money. So all on the Blues now. He's going to be left to try and clutch out the 1-on-2. Has retrieved the bomb, but with 25 seconds and players on both sides, I don't think this is going to be possible. And he's not even allowed to get back onto the site itself. Finished off 10-7 as we see Lux reach double digits already on the Sax's side. And this is where they can really get rolling now on the defense.
Yeah, we said it before with the second round can always be very difficult to win out here in Battalion, and that's exactly what comes through. With 10-7 now reading on the scoreline, Lux are in a position to start clocking up some rounds. They've got the weapon saved over from the previous Kar 98K on Flashy as well, a very powerful one-shot weapon. While the Allies are struggling a little bit, 2 smokes and 2 carbines, all that they're able to muster, going for a pretty regular buy over on the Allied side, but it's a weak one, and one that is easily exploited by the long-range angles being held by the Axis. Beautiful nade coming through from Max Strafe, and this round is almost over. Indeed it is. Just a second later as Max Strafe and J Money pick up some frags, helping each other out and claiming the 11th. And with that round clocked up, the money's looking good for the Axis side. One thing I discussed with some of the Lux players, or sorry, rather, it was actually with Mark from Endpoint, is how players are often reluctant to upgrade. They'll keep Gewehr's and carbines a lot of the time rather than actually take the STGs, and it's why they decide a lot of the time to actually go for the full eco over the Endpoint team. They like to get that full eco rush, just bite it, take it on the head, rush in, die, and then play the next round with full rifles. I like that.
That's
strategy.
understandable.
It's interesting to see how different teams adapt rather to the kind of eco situation where you have that one token after being reset. And you'll see the likes of course, we discussed this at Budapest, you've got Comrade. They're a team that always buy. I don't think I've ever seen them play with a grease gun or a popcorn rifle. It's always going to be the Gewehr's or the carbines.
That's actually what I was going to mention, because I remembered when we were at Gallantry at the Budapest event, it was CRG, I think, who said that they didn't really see the need to eco, because you could always kind of get out those basic rifles at least. And I guess when you're that confident in yourself, you think you can get the wins. When you look at CRG, the amount of firepower they have is absolutely immense. They have Fi, who's the main player. But even if he doesn't show up, you have players like Sam, who can also get the job done. He's an absolute monster also. So, yeah, it's interesting to see, as you said, the way different teams approach the game. Some of them taking a little bit of a safer approach, wanting to focus on the economy, and some of them just showing that confidence and just been wanting to always force the issue. But yeah, 11-7 right now. Lux have themselves a nice lead. There was a small pause that came in. I'd presume that was tactical. We weren't actually given the info. But I presume at this point it was for Demise being down by 4 rounds on the Allied side. But we're ready to get back into the action now. And actually, if we can get the scoreboard back up again, I think there was a player over on the Allied side. Yes, Samuel having a very solid game so far, sitting at 20 frags, which is actually quite a large amount in comparison to the rest of his teammates. You can see the next one down at 12. Over on the Lux side, it is Max Strafe who leads the way. But I think we're ready to go ahead and get back into the action now, because early on, we do see Demise, as you would expect, grouped up outside B, rather.
Yeah, this is a very common strategy as well, leaving one player over towards mid to make sure nobody's rotating in, nobody's pushing tank or trying to get in through the tank side connector to get behind you and flank your team out. So you've got that back covered, all you need to worry about then is the B bomb side. And with these smokes going down, it makes things a whole lot easier. The problem is there's a lot of nades you can throw towards that B bomb site to stop the pushes coming in. That's exactly what we have. Max Strafe finding one. Counter nade comes in for the bomb plant, and it's going to find one on the blues as well. Now things are looking pretty bad as even more grenades come over. This time smokes. Nice bounce on that grenade from J Money. Takes down Strove. Still no bomb plant. And you see, this is what I'm talking about with the Axis nade advantage. The Axis have not seen a single allied player, and they've taken down 3. Just with well-timed grenades, waiting for the sound cue for the bomb plant, and they still have one left on Flashy. So things are very dangerous right now. It's going to be nearly impossible for the allies to get the bomb plant unless they can find 2 or 3 more kills. Well, 2 at this point, as they found one as I was speaking. But look at the time.
Yeah,
it's
this
running
is a
out.
real problem. There's no nades left. Well, there is actually one nade left, so that's a little bit awkward. But it has now been thrown out. The bomb yet to be planted. They're going to have to try and do that soon, and Flashy's going to find it. That's 4 nade kills in this round for Lux alone. It's only Samuel who remains. He has to try and run away. There's nothing that can be done. At least he has a sexy Thompson skin. Gets himself 1 kill, but there we go. The round is over, 12-7. And it's definitely worth reiterating the fact that this is the map choice of Demise.
Yeah, for sure. And it was, I think, probably prompted by the double OT we saw coming through from Lux up against Fierce.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought that this is kind of a weaker map for Lux overall, and certainly up against Fierce it was, but I think Fierce just came there with a fierce performance, and they were able to
we chatted to the first coach, and they're very confident. We said to Tobin, what are you aiming for at this event? And he said top 2. Do you think CRG are the only team that can beat them? And we laughed when he listened. No, I'm looking forward to seeing how first play, but for now anyway, Lux doing a very good job, leading 12-7. A nice little surplus of rounds for them to work with, and it's going to be a very tough task for Demise to try and pull this game back now. And as always, they are going to try and make their way in towards B. This time, though, they do actually manage to find that opening kill. The nade's not going to be going down quite as quickly. It was Saint who tried to play in on the bomb site itself. He gets eliminated. Samuel going to be able to find one onto Flashy, and things are actually looking pretty decent. J Money pulls one back, but with still a man advantage, things do look at least slightly better for Demise than in the previous round.
Yeah, definitely looking very good indeed. 4 versus 2 as Niels takes down Max Strafe, leaving only J Money and Icons to defend this bomb site with no utility left. But look at that, he sees the leg, takes him down. He's low HP. Jay taking out the Luger, not the easiest to find the kills with the pistols, and he's about to be shot in the back. That makes things a whole lot harder. At 12-8. The Allies starting to clock up now. With that relatively strong start coming in from them, that is what we do like to see, because if Demise got off to a slow start, if we saw Lux shooting ahead, getting 13, 14 rounds before Demise could get on the scoreboard, that's where things get awkward. Finding the first round really gave them the confidence to keep going, and although they lost a couple thereafter, now they're starting to win these out. We've got full nades coming through, and the important thing here is the economy of the Axis is so low right now, they can't even afford 1 grenade. And that's really important because we saw the impact that the grenades can have just 2 rounds ago, where 4 kills came through without a single bullet connecting for the Axis side.
We can see Lux, though, taking actually a little bit of a strat out of the Book of Demise, looking to try and push up on a long. And at least currently there is one player trying to spot this position, doing so a little bit more passively. As you said, only the Gouvers in the hands of that allied side. And actually, or rather, Axis side, and it's the Gouver in the hand of Samuel that opens things up. So looking pretty good again. Din's going to make his way in towards B, get that kill on the J Money. Max Strafe and Saint, though, going to be able to pull one back each. It does end up with a man advantage in favor of Demise, but things still could get a little bit awkward. I'm not sure if they're aware of the positioning currently that Saint has pushed up into that house.
And they will be now as he's firing off. It's still going to be hard for them to actually... Oh, no, that's really lucky, finding the perfect timing up against Nielsk. And now that means that the window player is going to have to take a peek blues. Got to keep an eye on that bomb site. 20 seconds left. The rotation coming down as well from Strove. He's towards the mid connector now. He's hiding, though. He's going to be able to make his way over towards Khan. Oh, but Blues needs to stay alive up there. They've got to keep these angles a guessing. Unfortunately, it's only going to be him, so they're able to focus on it, meaning that not a single kill can be found. 13-8. A round picked up for the Axis, even with limited utility. And now utility isn't going to be a problem at all, as they've got a very strong economy. 2 players that don't need to buy. They've got Tommies and MP40s combined with the Gewehr. That allows you to take a fight at any range. Of course, the Gewehr coming in with a 1-tap headshot for only 1 token. Well, the MP40 and Tommy gun going to be more favored for that kind of faster play style, jumping around the corners and taking the close range fights at the hip fire. 13 to 8, and the scope comes out for Samuel on the Allied side.
Yeah, this round's crucial. If they lose this one, their economy is going to be very weak into the upcoming round. And at that point, I think the round deficit will just be too much for them to try and overcome. So they need to pick this up. They need to put a stop to the momentum of Lux. And let's see if they're going to be able to do so successfully, because Flashy, he has the Car 98 now ready over on this B-bomb site. Does fall off a little bit more passively, so some well-placed smokes could actually block him off for now. Will that be an issue is the question, because Dins has already gone ahead and opened things up, and Max Strafe looking to try and push in through the smoke. May not realize there is a couple of players on the other side, but he may be able to get the time and perfectly gets himself 2 kills. Even drops the bomb in the process and finds the info. This can allow now for the rotates to come in, and he may be able to find even more from this one. Gets the hat trick. Goes ahead and takes himself a third. The jump shot coming in as he finds yet another player. Yet to get the frag, but he's just being such a nuisance right now. Eventually falls, but I think they'll be happy with that 3-for-1.
Major delays being caused there on the B-side push, and that leaves only Dins, though, as they're being picked apart by Max Strafe. Although he made his way to the bomb site, he hasn't got the bomb in his possession. He's been spotted out going aggressive towards mid. He's in a bit of danger from Icons towards the market. Shots are missed, but again, picking up on that intel, less than 20 seconds remaining on the clock, it's pretty much unwinnable, especially with a Car 98 shot to the head. That'll end anybody's hopes and dreams, and putting us 13 to 8. Here we see that beautiful play from Max Strafe once more. A fantastic double. Finishing it off, of course, then with the third before he was dropped eventually. 14 to 8. At this point, Lux are feeling confident. They know that the next map is going to provide them with massive favor. Of course, they played really well on Coastal up against Fierce. 16-2 they beat them after having a double overtime on this map. It's certainly a map that they're really confident on over on the Lux side, and they're very happy that it wasn't banned. I think their map is Invasion, the insta-ban. Not a map that looks like, and I don't blame them for it. The B side there is atrocious.
Yeah, since they changed it, the way it's opened up is a little bit strange. I actually haven't played it since they changed it, but here we go. This things could be looking on the up right now for Demise, because we do see Blues and Samuel G been able to find a kill each, almost in perfect synchronization as it comes into the 5-on-3. So looking okay. They are able to take down 2 of the heavy hitters as well over on the Axis side. And at this point, I'd probably like to see them just make sure they stick together, because you can see Dins continuing the push-up kind of on his own. This gives a chance for a kill to be taken back, but he manages to go ahead and get that one onto Icons as well. And suddenly the A-bomb site is completely open. They can bring the bomb over here if they want to. Continuing to take a little bit of a challenge against J-Money does cost the life of 1, and oh my god, gets the jump shot onto Dins as well. Able to spot him out in the back street, and this could get really risky now. If he hits that shot especially, the bomb should just about be planted, but never mind. Flashy comes in. Oh my god, this round is just completely falling apart. How has this happened, Mitch?
J-Money knows that he's one of my favorite players in this game. He always shows up when he's got that Car 98K in hand, and right there you're seeing exactly why.
I said stick together. Why didn't they?
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Like, look at this jump shot. Perfect reactions. He's got the pre-aim on his crosshair. He knows exactly where he's looking. It's just beautiful to see him use that weapon. He utilizes it perfectly. Finishing off with a Tommy as well. 15 rounds on the board now for the Axis. They need 1 more, and J-Money still having that Car 98K in hand. That was something I really missed after I-62, of course, Endpoint, the team that he was playing for at the time, and the team that Icons, J-Money, and Saint 6, as he was going by, won the tournament with. After that, they took, I think, a 2-month break, and it was sad, you know, not seeing Jay on that Car 98. And it's actually Flashy opening things up this time with the car on the Blues. Max Strafe finding 1 as well. And this puts a disadvantage in the hands of the Allies. Demise already falling pretty heavily behind. They need to win every round now. That's going to be 7 in a row, Dean, to take us to overtime. And it looks like the Axis have got this in the bag. A push coming through from Samuel. He's going to be shut down. It leaves it all onto Nielsk and Strove. And they've got a heavily stacked up B-bomb site to go towards. No nades to open it up for free. Strove with a nice headshot. I'm happy about that, but they haven't checked their close left over in the dark room, where Saint is going to be lurking. Nades coming through, not finding any kills this time for the Axis, but Saint is not expected on the MP40. He knows the bomb isn't going down just yet, and they're going to have to peek him sooner. Oh, beautiful read. hears him stepping inside the smoke, takes the kill, and now he knows Nielska's up close. It comes down to a 1v1. If Saint can win this, the map is all for Lux.
Yeah, but with Nielsk now having this info, this gets quite awkward because he's pinned in on the room, going to make his way around, but look how low the time is. Only 10 seconds remaining. He can just run away at this point. Saint, he may have been able to win this purely on the time. The bomb, it is being planted. He may just be able to get that one placed down in time. It's a close one indeed. Comes to the final millisecond. But now it's going to be who can pick up the kill first. Either player doing quite a lot of damage. Saint especially being extremely low. Has to allow for himself to regen up a small amount before he can actually continue to take this fight. And now, Niels, he's been able to reposition himself. Lying down in the arch, but it's not going to work out. I feel like that's a kill that he should definitely have right there.
Yeah, most definitely. Luckily, he tried to kneel up to stand just as Saint peaked, which put Saint's crosshair at the perfect angle. Other than that, the view model on the weapon would have blocked Niels from side and it would have been an easy kill.
Yeah, I couldn't even see him on the view model, so that's why I was wondering.
Yeah,
like,
well, that's
instant
instant reactions. Probably because, I mean, 4 of his teammates are dead at that stage. They can see, they can call out for him. A very nice first map to start us off. And now as Lux move over onto Coastal, a map that we know they're competent and comfortable on, they're going to have a massive advantage swinging into that map.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried now for Demise, especially if we seen first put up a fight on Liberation that went into double overtime, and then we see a 16-8 here in this one, and then the same maps coming in again. After 16-2 against first, this could be dangerous. It depends how strong Demise are on the map. We know they can play it for sure. But if Lux are really just going to be that dominant, if they're putting up a performance like we just seen there on Liberation, with that being the map choice of Demise, I'm definitely worried about this next game.
For sure. And what was interesting about that veto was we still had Invasion and Savoia being banned. And it's interesting because they know Coastal, Demise know Coastal is a really strong map for Lux. And so it's quite unusual that they didn't decide to instead ban Coastal. And I mean, they're a team that's been together since the start of MU1. It's been 6 months at this point. They're going to be pretty comfortable on most of the maps, surely. Now, Savoia being a little bit newer, I think we're going to see it a lot less here. It is also a map that strays from the kind of linear style of a lot of these maps. They're all very two-dimensional, literally flat. If you think about the likes of Derailed, for example, you've cinema to the floor. But on Savoia, almost every part of the map, there's a double story. And so that's something that strays more towards the Call of Duty side of things than the likes of Counter-Strike, where it's more linear. And because the first few maps have been so linear, I think teams have kind of adopted to that level of that kind of play style. And so then moving on to Savoia, it's kind of hard for some of them to move back towards that kind of Call of Duty groundings, you know, foundations. That's the word.
I get you, the fundamentals. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what way this next map goes. We are going to go ahead and just take a quick break, guys, and we'll be back as soon as the players are ready to go into the second map. Until then, make sure you stay around the stream, hit the follow button. You can check myself and Mitch out on Twitter.